This is my last Egyptian adventure to share with you guys, and I'm going to show you the crazy city of Cairo. This is the largest city in the Middle East. It's a bustling metropolis of 21 million people, and it holds a treasure trove of ancient religious sites. Known to the locals as the Mother of the World, Cairo wears its 1,000-year history not in quiet museums, but in living neighborhoods, where the Coptic churches, the grand mosques, and forgotten synagogues tell you the story of civilizations that have flourished here since Roman times. In this video, I'll be sharing with you several areas of Old Cairo with a variety of historical and religious landmarks, and we'll end up in the vibrant market of Khan Al-Khalili. Let me know in the comments which one of these sites you would want to visit, and if you've been here, let me know what I've missed. Now we are starting our tour in an area of Old Cairo that's named Coptic Cairo. This area is a maze of ancient and modern churches and monasteries set within the walls of a 6th century Roman fortress. Now this first site is where you can see the Roman fortress. It was built around 20 BC to protect the entrance to the ancient canal that linked the Nile to the Red Sea. And when Christianity spread through Egypt, Christians began to build their churches within these fortress walls. There is such a unique blend of religions here in Egypt, and so over the next 2 days we're going to be visiting Coptic Christian churches, we're going to go to a Jewish synagogue, and then tomorrow we're going to explore some of the mosques of the Muslim religion here in Egypt. Our first stop is the Hanging Church. It got its name because it was built on top of one of the fortress's gatehouses that was suspended over a passage. This church is from the 4th century AD, has some very unique architectural features, and we learned a lot about the unique characteristics of the Egyptian Coptic church. And in the baptistry in the back right here, there's a section cut out of the floor so you can view underneath to see how it's suspended. This site is one of the most famous here in Cairo, as you can tell by the crowds. It is the site of the miraculous column. This column features an image of the Virgin Mary. Now, as the story goes, during the 10th century, the Muslim ruler of Egypt challenged Pope Abraham about Jesus' words that faith can move mountains, and challenged them to move Makata Mountain or face severe consequences. After 3 days of fasting and prayer by Pope Abraham and St. Simon the Tanner, a major earthquake occurred, which indeed moved the mountain. And at the same time, an apparition of the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared on this very column. And as you can see here, it is now protected by a little bit of plastic to keep people from touching it. On our way to the next site, we actually head underground. Rose says, oh, say hello. Let's go there. Say hi. This is essentially considered archaeological stratification, the layering of history where newer structures are built on top of older ones. So in Coptic Cairo, the very bottom layer is the original Roman Babylon fortress. And then the early churches were built at the ground level at their time, and then medieval and Ottoman structures were built at progressively higher levels, and then modern Cairo can be found at the highest level. That's why you have to go downstairs underground to enter many of Coptic Cairo's older churches and structures. You're literally going down through layers of history. Ooh, that looks like a neat store. Books and books and books. Even if you're not really interested in the religious history here, it's really cool to walk down and around in this area, and there are some really neat shops. There's a whole city of stuff to see down here. Nunneries to St. Sergius Church is where we're headed. Ooh, lots of people here. Not sure what the point of that is. If everybody sets it off and doesn't matter.
here we're going. The Cavern Church and the martyrs Sergius and Bacchus.
Our next stop here is called the Church of St. Sergius and Bacchus. It's also known as Abu Surga or the Cave Church. It was built into the fortress's foundations. This is considered the oldest church inside the walls of Coptic Cairo.
We're going to go down into the crypt. It's very hot, so we're just going to pass through and follow our guide.
The name of the church honors 2 Roman soldiers who were martyred in Syria for their Christian faith in 296. It was built over a cave where the Holy Family, Joseph, Mary, and baby Jesus, took shelter after fleeing to Egypt to escape persecution from King Herod of Judea. When I came to Cairo, this wasn't really on my radar of places to visit, but it is very cool that I got to see this. And as you can see, it's pretty dang popular. It was so crowded.
Here's the well that gave the Holy Family fresh water. Wow.
If you're not familiar with the term Coptic, don't worry, I wasn't either. This refers to Egyptian Christians who belong to the Coptic Orthodox Church. This is the largest Christian community in Egypt and the Middle East. It makes up about 10 to 15% of Egypt's population. Coptics are the direct descendants of ancient Egyptians who converted to Christianity in the first few centuries AD. The Coptic Orthodox Church is the second oldest Christian church in the world. And according to tradition, it was brought to Egypt in the 1st century when St. Mark the Evangelist brought Christianity to Egypt around 42 AD. They have their own pope. They follow a distinctive religious traditions and calendar that's a little bit different than other varieties of Christianity, and they have survived under Islamic rule since the 7th century.
Right, so that is worth seeing for Christians that are interested in that history, and it is hot, and it does not smell fantastic, but that is absolutely magical to be able to see that where the Holy Family lived and stayed for many months while they were in Egypt. 2 Coptic priests right there.
Next, we ventured to Ben Ezra Synagogue. Now, no photos or videos were allowed in here. Not only is Ben Ezra the oldest synagogue in all of Egypt, it is a place where the Cairo Geniza, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it is the largest and most important single collection of medieval Jewish manuscripts that were discovered here in 1896.
No photographs allowed inside this synagogue, so I'm shutting her down.
This is also the site where baby Moses was found in the reeds of the Nile. Now, photos weren't allowed inside, so I didn't take any, but I did find a couple online that were copyright free. The following day, we focused on the Islamic area of Cairo, visiting several mosques. We started at Ibn Tulun, which is considered one of the oldest, and it's open to visitors for free. We also get to climb one of the minarets, so don't go anywhere just yet.
We are visiting Egyptian mosque today, and this is the oldest one that still remains in Egypt. It was actually the 3rd mosque that was built in Egypt, but the first 2 mosques are no longer standing, so this is the oldest one that is still standing here. We got a little talk from our tour guide about how Egypt became a Muslim country and a little bit more about the religion. We're going to see 3 mosques, I think, here today. So there was a discussion about how people always argue about the direction of Mecca, so now the mosques include a spot, a little sanctuary spot, here it is, that will direct people of which direction is Mecca. So before you start praying, you have to wash. And so under this dome in the center is the place where the water's at.
I also learned that this green carpet here isn't just a random pattern. This pattern on the floor is actually designating where each person sits to pray.
Now my camera was malfunctioning when we arrived, but you do have to take your shoes off when you come in here. And you can buy little plastic booties for just a few, I don't know, 10 or 20 Egyptian pounds if you prefer. You don't have to cover your head, but you're supposed to have your shoulders and, your knees covered in here. We are gonna climb up the minaret up there. So this is the minaret we're going up, not that one. And there are not handrails. I'll take you along with me. If it's something you're interested in doing, you can see how difficult it is. But I'm excited to see the view. All of Cairo up from there. Some of our group didn't go, so I left my bags and stuff with them. So here we go. My GoPro decided to freeze on the way up, so I captured some images with my cell phone, and the views are beautiful, but we are staying away from the edge and we're headed back down. Thank you. It's pretty safe going up, but once you get to the top, there's no tall railing to keep you safe. So if you're afraid of heights, it's probably not for you, but the views are pretty incredible. And we're headed back down. You can see way up there we were.
There are two mosques here to visit side by side, and first we're going to go in and check out the Madrasa of Sultan Hassan.
So if you leave your shoes with the man in the front, they're going to charge you when you go to pick them up. So you can just carry your shoes and not have to worry about that.
This was constructed in the 1300s, and it's renowned for its grand scale and intricate design. Considered one of the finest examples of Mamluk architecture. It also includes a mausoleum intended for the Sultan, although he was never buried there due to his assassination before its completion.
So enormous, I can't even capture how large that is with the camera. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. Wow, that's beautiful.
يا رحمة للعالمين أرسلك الله.
Now you always need to pay the attendant when you use the restroom, but sometimes they don't offer up the toilet paper until you kind of stand there and say, I need paper. So stand your ground and ask for what you need. We're going to go to the next mosque now. They had one of the Muslim men that says the call to prayer. He sang for us and it was so incredibly beautiful. And interesting enough, he said it's not a prayer, it's a call to prayer. It's telling the people it is time to pray. And I learned several things about the Muslim mosques that I didn't know before. In fact, I had never been inside one before. So, a lot to learn here about the different cultures.
Next up, we visit the next mosque, Al-Rifa'i. Guess on my end on pronunciation. This was another massive structure. This mosque is adjacent to the famous Cairo Citadel, and it contains the royal mausoleum of Muhammad Ali's family. No, not the boxer. This Muhammad Ali is often considered the father of modern Egypt. He was the Ottoman Albanian that was sent to recover Egypt from the French occupation following Napoleon's withdrawal. He rose to power and ruled Egypt from 1805 to 1848. King Farouk is buried here as well. Now we stumbled upon this memorial in here. It's for Mohammad Reza Shah, the last Shah of Iran. He was granted asylum in Cairo after being exiled from Iran in 1979. He died the following year and was buried here in this mosque.
So yesterday was his birthday, so they had a big celebration here. This is special to see this sanctuary decorated with flowers like this.
Lastly, we walk through the Old City Cairo Gate. Here's the name of it. And we are starting at the end of this street and we walk all the way down until we connect to the Khan Al-Khalili market. Al-Muizz Street is a must-see. This is considered the oldest street in Cairo. On the northern end of the street, we pass a mosque and you can see the local people heading in for prayer. There is a whole variety of monuments you can visit in this area, as you can see right here. I absolutely love strolling down this street. It's amazing because it gives you a look at local life in Old Cairo, many locals going about their day. Now keep an eye out for this restaurant about halfway down our walk. This was one of my favorite meals while we were in Egypt. It's on the roof of a hotel and it looked like an incredible place to stay as well. Now let me tell you, the food just kept coming and it was really delicious. As we walk down the street, we pass so many historic mosques with several interesting architectural features. Now through this back alley leads us to Khan Al-Khalili Market. I absolutely love this area. Now before I went, after what I'd seen online and after my experiences with the vendors at the temples, I was expecting much more aggressive vendors, but that was not my experience. I found some souvenirs for my family and I had a great time wandering the streets here. Now what I didn't have time to share in this video, we visited the Egyptian Museum in downtown, and I'll be sharing more information on that and on the hotel we stayed in Cairo on my website at swiftytravels.com. And if you missed my videos earlier in the year on the pyramid sites, be sure and check out my previous videos. I'll link to that right here. Now that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching.